Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's House. It's our first official show of the new season, the 2017/18 season. This is our 25th season on the air, actually. Wow. So we got a big anniversary coming up. So we got Bello and Gina back in the house today after a long, long summer of fun and sun. We'll hear all about that and what's going on. But, can you see this album that we're spotlighting? If you're playing at home, go get your album, Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas. And most people think it's only a 45, right? But I have the actual LP. And you know the name of it? It's called Kung Fu Fighting and Other Great Love Songs.
There you go.
And I'm not making that up. You can clearly see it says that there. So you didn't know that Kung Fu Fighting was a love song, did you, Stephen?
I know
now you know.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about everything. This album came out in 74, so we're going to talk about everything 1974. What it was like growing up in 1974. What's the differences of parents in 1974 versus 2017? We're going to find out all that and more. But first, we're going to do a long-distance dedication. And, of course, I want to mention, I've already mentioned this on the other show, I'm very angry this season. So you're going to see a lot of hatred spewing out of me this season, Stephen. So that makes for a good show, usually.
That's something new.
Well, a part of last season, I was very calm and in a smooth mood,
That's true.
as you would say. Yes, exactly. So I stopped doing yoga, so I got that out of my system. So now I'm back angry again. So my long-distance dedication, we're going to do to Jake LaMotta, who passed away today, the great boxer. He was 95. Wow. But I have a bone to pick with Robert De Niro, who played him in Raging Bull. Great movie, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But, and of course, Robert De Niro is my favorite actor of all time. I love every one of his movies. But he annoyed me today, so I'm going to have to call him out, just like I did to Oprah last week. I challenged Oprah to a fist fight last week. So now I might have to challenge Robert De Niro. Because I'm going to call out celebrities when they do this every single season. Every single show, that Robert De Niro went to the UN to ask them to give money to the country of Barbuda that was ravaged in the hurricane. Now, that seems like a normal thing, right? That I shouldn't get angry about that. Right. But the reasoning behind it is Robert De Niro owns a resort on Barbuda, so he wants this fixed up. Instead of using his own billions and getting Madonna and Oprah to chip in, he wants me and the rest of us here to chip in and pay for his resort where he's going to make billions of dollars off it and charge me if I want to come. So, F you.
I have to say, F you, Robert De Niro.
See, I never thought I would say that. I love Robert De Niro, but I have to stop all this insanity.
Yeah.
I'm not giving another dime. I demand none of us give another dime to any cause or anything until celebrities start going in their pockets, not just saying we're going to do a benefit. I want to see cash money coming out of those pockets, you sons of... All right, there we go. So anyway,
that was a great first segment.
Very nice. Awesome.
Let's start the show off with our long-distance dedication now. Those damn dead dogs, Bello, I keep telling you. So we're going to start it off with Kung Fu Fighting, of course, by Carl Douglas, and then we're going to play Come and Get Your Love by, does anyone know?
Redbone.
Very good, Redbone. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house, 474 The Mix. That was Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas and Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. That was, I believe, the only Native American band ever. Oh. Is that true?
I don't know if that's true.
I think, who else? What other bands were there?
Cherokee people.
That was Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah, they weren't.
They were British.
But they were singing about the
He
Indians.
was talking about that.
So, all right, so Gina, you have until the end of the show to prove me wrong, but I'm going on record right now saying Redbone is the only Native American band ever. How come I think I'm Native American? How are they Native Americans? If you're born in America, doesn't that make you a Native American? All right. Look that up too, Gina. All right. So anyway, we're going to talk about what we've been doing all summer. And first thing I want to talk about is my new dog. We got a beautiful new husky that Gina and Bello just got to meet. Yeah, beautiful white husky with blue eyes. But It is insane. It has separation anxiety, which we rescued the dog, and they did not tell us about the separation anxiety until one time.
They might not have known.
Yeah, that's true, because there was other people around and other
Right,
dogs
there's
around.
always somebody there.
She had a
There's
roommate.
no way they could have
yeah,
known.
yeah.
Right.
So anyway, it has separation anxiety, which means that
no.
the dog is perfectly fine, will lay at your feet like an angel while everybody's around. As soon as you leave her alone, she goes berserk, chew up the house, crap all over the house, pee
Yeah.
on my my red velvet smoking jacket.
Oh no!
She didn't,
no.
but she would.
Yeah, she would. You better protect that.
Yeah. So, and Cha-Cha is very angry at the dog. She, oh, and the other thing, besides it being having separation anxiety, it's a husky, so it leaps over our 4-foot fence in the backyard and escapes every time we put her in the
Like a
backyard.
little reindeer.
Too. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. That is
She's
crazy.
just like a gazelle, right over the fence. So
Neato.
we said, all right, let's get a 6-foot-high white vinyl fence. You know how much that costs? Just for a
10
small
Gs?
section?
A lot.
$5,000 just for 2 sections.
Right.
No.
So
So
Yeah.
needless
I said
to
it's
say-
cheaper to put the dog to sleep than
Oh God, you did not say that.
I hope the rescue place isn't
Yes,
working.
yeah.
But anyway, the Cha-Cha is really upset about the dog. I understand, because the dog was, abused, came from an abusive home in
Right.
Long Island. And I said, you and the dog have so many similarities. That's why you get so upset about it.
Oh shit!
I rescued
Yeah,
you
yeah,
as a
that's-
stray from Long
Right,
Island.
yeah, that's how this went.
And Cha-Cha used to jump over the
That's
fence,
how
right?
that
I remember that. I
went.
remember you told me that story.
Yeah.
I rescued
And
you.
you're happiest when everybody's in the house, right?
Yeah, that
so
is-
see, you do
That's
have a lot of similarities.
No.
You don't go to the bathroom in the house when we leave, but it's just so.
And I don't eat the ottoman. I don't knock
Right,
everything
right.
off the
So-
counters and the table.
Yeah, so
I don't eat the metal.
so stay tuned. We'll give weekly updates on the dog's progress, because I'm trying to. I don't know what I'm trying to do, really, but if anyone has any
not-
hints, write in, call in.
Here's the thing. He's not trying to do anything.
Yeah, I am.
Every day, deal with it, Karen. Deal with it.
Deal with it.
Deal
Well, that's
with
what you got to do until she gets accustomed
No,
to it.
that's not how this is
Because
going to go.
we got a cage for her too, and
Oh, the
she
cage
busts
is
out of the cage. She's
hysterical.
smart
How
does she
enough.
bust
She
out?
pushes
It's
on the
like nothing
door
you've ever
until it
seen.
opens
Until it
up, and then
opens.
she comes out and writes "Helter Skelter" on the walls again. So
We literally have to use a chain. And put a chain. And listen, you can't just put the chain. You have to wrap the chain
Around.
and
it's
hold
a
it.
And
it's a 2-hour
padlock.
process.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like Houdini when he was going in the under the water.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Right.
Stunt
I need 3 hours in the morning to get out the door, and 2 of those hours locked
dedicated.
around.
Yeah, dedicated.
but
to
besides that, she's a wonderful dog.
Yeah, besides that, yeah.
And
I
she's
mean,
wonderful, very loving, and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But
great
what are you gonna do?
watchdog.
You can't have everything.
Oh, wow.
So, all right. So that's all I wanted to
But I
mention about the dog.
digress.
Like I said, we'll give weekly updates, and people can write in if they know how to cure separation anxiety.
I heard there's drugs for it.
Yeah.
And that's what she's getting.
Yeah, is that acceptable to
One of
sedate your
you-
dogs?
One of you is getting drugs.
I don't need it. You need it, or her, not me. I'm perfectly calm. So, all right. So let's take a quick station break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about 1974 and Gina Bello. Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house, 474 The Mix, part of the Madhouse Magazine Radio Hour. So now we're going to talk about 1974, the year this came out. And we were all about 9, 10 years old, whatever we were. We were small, stupid children. And we're all from New York, actually. So we
We are
all
New
have the
Yorkers.
same kind of experience, right? So, and I want to talk about the differences between parents then and parents now, right? Parents now are doting and wonderful, and they're
Right.
all up in their kids'
Right.
business, and let them stay home from school,
Right.
drive them
Right.
wherever they want to
Right.
go, and they what is the word?
Cater
I'm calling
to
it? They
them.
cater
Yeah.
to,
They
and they
do.
make sacrifices for, is the word I was looking for.
Hover.
Like New Year's Eve, we'll stay in so we can drive our daughter. Like you said that, right?
Yeah,
Didn't you say that last year?
yes.
Right.
You
Yes.
picked up your son like 4 a.m., right, Steve?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, could you
Kind of
imagine our
funny.
parents doing that
Sure.
back then?
Right. So now basically back in 1974, parents didn't want anything to do with
No.
you. Basically, they just they loved you, and they just said, "Get out of the house.
Right.
Don't
Don't
bring
come
your
home."
stupid friends over here."
Right.
Right.
That's one thing.
So they hated you and their friends, right?
Yeah.
And your friends,
Hated
but
you,
They
your
wanted you
friends
home for
more.
dinner, though.
Yeah,
exactly,
right.
and they didn't want the police involved at all,
Right,
or any
right.
neighbors
That's
coming
correct.
over complaining about anything.
My
So,
dad
other
didn't
than
know
that-
my name until I was about 10. Yeah. We had so many kids in that house. Like he used to call me the wrong name. He finally got
Oh
one.
yeah.
Hey, you.
My grandmother and mother used to do that too. They'd go through the whole Rolodex before they got to you when they were
Yes, yes.
mad
Oh
and
yeah,
yelling
my
at
name
you. Yeah.
and from an Italian family. So my real
Yeah.
name is Gina. My nickname is Gina. Don't ask me. My mom called me Gina, but Grandpa.
What's your real name?
My real name is Janine.
Janine,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Right.
But they always called me Gina.
There you go.
Italian family. Why you name me Janine? French name. Go figure. I don't get it. So there was cousin Denise. So Grandpa Angelo, Janice. Never got my name right to the day he died.
I love
Janice.
It.
Janice.
I like that. You can start calling her that.
There you go.
Janice, that's
Janice.
Janice. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I love it.
So, and it
Gina.
was just,
I
the main thing was, right, to go outside and play. They never
Right.
wanted you in the house, right?
Never.
Oh, they hated your friends, but they did like one friend usually, right? Did you all have one friend that the parents liked? It was the
No,
nice.
I-
Oh, really? Okay. I maybe it was just me then.
Like Eddie Haskell.
Yeah,
He was-
Eddie
he was
Haskell.
the con
Mine
man.
When they
was
like
yeah.
Joe
John.
Amici. Yeah, he was the nice
You know, they
kid.
liked
Yeah.
they liked
Yeah.
one friend a
Yeah,
lot. Why
there you
can't
go.
you
Yeah,
be
I
more
guess
like
they
her?
Yeah.
That type of thing. Yeah.
I guess they like, my one friend.
Yeah.
That's true.
So they told you to go outside, and then the neighborhoods looked like it was kind of like Lord of the Flies. There was hundreds of kids running rampant
Yeah.
through the streets, and you could do whatever you want,
But you have
right?
to remember there were, we lived in small houses. We didn't have these sprawl. I mean, some
We
of
didn't
the
have
people's
land.
kitchens
Right.
Was the size of the
That-
apartment I
that's
grew up in. So
Yeah.
it's like, you're playing in your mother's bedroom.
That's it.
And that's just get outside.
Yeah, right. So it was just like 8 years old. I recall doing the craziest stuff. You're out, first thing in the morning. Well, like on a Saturday. Saturdays were the
yeah.
best. Now let's talk about
Cartoons.
Saturdays.
Oh, yes.
What was the ritual on Saturday mornings?
Cartoons
Cartoons,
first.
Yeah.
right?
And what else? What were you doing while you?
Cereal?
Yeah,
A
eating
bowl of
cereal.
cereal, the whole
Usually
damn box.
Captain Crunch usually.
Yes.
My
Yes.
brother and I beating each other up over it.
I was not allowed
and
to
then
have
digging
that.
down at the bottom of the box to get the prize
Yeah, the
before
prizes
him.
were the best
Yeah.
too.
That
Oh
was
my
a
God,
challenge.
yes.
Remember the
Right.
prizes?
When you had a lot of kids, how many kids were in your family?
There
Bill?
was 5. There was
All right, I have 5 too.
Oh,
so
wow.
by the time
Oh,
you
yeah.
get to the
Ridiculous,
prize
right?
and the
Yeah.
cereal,
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah.
Usually the cereal's all dumped out as soon as the
Right.
box
Right.
comes out
Right.
and someone takes it.
Yeah.
So are you saying, Cha-Cha, you did not get to eat cereal?
Challenge?
No, we were only allowed to have cornflakes and Cheerios. But at Halloween, we were allowed to go to the store and we were each allowed to get our own box. And I usually got Blueberry.
Ah,
my
Blueberry.
brother got
Yes.
chocolate.
Count chocolate.
Remember
And
Fruit
my
Fruit?
sister
He was
would
only
get
around back in the day,
What
yeah.
was the strawberry?
He was
I
the wolf.
forget.
Frankenberry.
That's it.
Frankenberry.
And
Yeah.
that was it. We were not allowed. We had Rice Krispies and Cheerios.
All
Wow.
right, healthy
See?
minded
That's
parents.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
about her
It's
being
crazy.
abused. That's what
Chacha,
I'm
did
talking
you
about.
put sugar on that though?
I used to
Because
put
that
it
was
on
a
the
thing
Rice
back in the day. Yeah, that
Sugar
was a
on
thing.
Rice
Yeah.
Krispies?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
like that's
And
what my cousins taught me that trick.
cornflakes, but- right. But Cheerios, no. Mm-mm. But absolutely, when you got the cornflakes, you put sugar.
Yeah. That was,
yeah.
so it was almost like it.
There was no frosted
Wasn't that Frosted
flakes?
Flakes?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We
you
didn't
made
learn
your own
how to
Frosted
have
Flakes, I
it.
guess.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's
We-
the ghetto
yeah.
version of
Yes,
Frosted Flakes. So
I did not grow up in the ghetto.
So anyway, that was so great. We're watching. I have those things right there. Land of the Lost, Sigmund later on.
Yeah.
But the cartoons
Greatest.
was
The
so
news
good.
you review.
Bugs Bunny. That's
Yes,
it. It begins
yes.
and ends with Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
The
It's
greatest show
absolutely-
ever. Kids will never realize how awesome Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny
amazing.
was.
That was
It's,
on Channel 2 for an hour and a half. On
Yeah,
Saturday
yeah.
mornings. At the end of towards 11 o'clock.
But also,
Right.
didn't they have cartoon versions? Like I remember the Jacksons.
Yes, of
Fat
course.
Albert.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Even the
God.
Osmonds had
The Osmonds, I think,
cartoons.
had
Yeah.
something.
Brady Bunch had a cartoon
Yeah,
of the kids
Brady's.
and stuff. So
What was it? Fraggle Rock? What was that?
Fraggle
channel?
Rock.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it.
That was
I
so-
remember
yeah.
that.
And then, of course, what was on Sundays? You had Abbott and Costello on
Yes.
Sundays too,
Definitely.
right?
Those were awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Dan, do you
true. My
remember
father
Charles
loved
Nelson
that.
Riley, Uncle Croc's Block? That was in the 70s.
What show was
It
it?
was called Uncle Croc's Block.
No,
And
I
he was
don't
an
remember
alligator.
that. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was in an alligator suit. It was terrible, but I
Where
loved
the
it.
heck
you
was
know?
he watching TV?
That was
Wow.
Channel 7. That was it was
That
one,
must have
one
been
year.
just-
It was
I never
about
heard of that one.
75 in
That must have been
1975.
Staten Island only, local.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, Google
Cable.
that. You'll see. He was nuts.
right,
Welcome
I'll
to
check
Uncle
that.
Croc's Block. It was so good. And then they would do cartoons in between, you know?
Yeah.
That might have been a stuff. No, it would have to be everywhere. It was everywhere.
So now you mentioned before we were talking off air, Stephen, and you said about the strikes.
Yes.
During this time, New York City was the worst place to ever possibly be. And there's a
so
good
true.
new show on called Deuce about it. It's about the early
yes, I've been
70s,
watching
it. Really?
about
Love it.
the
Love it.
pimps and prostitutes and
In New York
hookers
City,
and
yeah.
Deuce?
It's
Deuce
awesome.
is
fun
called
stuff.
James
Catch it.
Franco.
Yeah.
It takes place in Times Square in the
Yeah.
seedy 1970s.
Yeah,
you
The
know?
other guy looks
Oh,
exactly
wow.
like him.
Yeah, that was
His
amazing.
brother, yeah.
They got a guy that looked just like him.
It's really good. It's really good.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So you were mentioning one time about a strike, and
Yes.
you're walking along the
Yes.
tracks. Tell
But
us about
that's
that
where
story.
parents were different, right? In 1974, the Staten Island Rapid Transit was on strike. So me and my brother would walk my mother would give us like $4, and we would walk the train tracks to the movie theater. And there were I saw 100 movies that summer. You know what I mean? But that was, and also I didn't tell you this. There was packs of wild dogs roaming Staten Island.
Oh my
That-
God!
yeah.
I told that story 100 times about
yeah.
Queens too.
Oh, you had that out there too?
Yes.
And we would get chased. There was a certain part we would have to run for our lives.
You called
And we
me
would
a
get
liar.
past
Wow.
them. And that was always on the train
Wow,
tracks.
That's fierce.
Some of them
we
would
didn't
have
have
like
that in
patches of
Brooklyn.
hair missing.
Yes,
and
yes.
foaming from the mouth and stuff like that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
think it's
See?
so- boy thing.
Could you
It
imagine
has
letting
to
your
be.
kids
Yeah.
do that today? You
We
know,
weren't chased by dogs.
we used to get chased by walking
See,
the
and
train
that's
tracks.
the thing you don't see anymore. You don't see stray dogs anymore.
And-
That's
Yeah.
the point.
And white
Yeah.
poop.
Yeah, exactly. No more
Yes.
white dog poop because
Yes.
everybody's got to pick it up. It doesn't
Because
have a
it's
chance
new
to
and
turn
fresh.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, like I said, crazy stuff. Leaving early in the morning in the summer, coming back late at night, maybe coming back for dinner,
Yes.
then going back out.
Yes.
And because the statute of limitations is over, so now I'm going to confess something I did. I was the youngest one, and that was the thing. There was kids of all ages, from my age up to 18, 8 to 18,
Right.
and they were all rotten, future criminals
Journalists.
Yes.
and
Yeah.
convicts. So I remember this one time we left early in the morning and we went like a mile away. There was these factories and it was closed on this day. It must have been, I guess, a weekend then because this factory was closed. So we broke into the factory and we stole stuff. They had like all these different things. And like I said, I was only 8, so I was just there and,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
take anything home because my parents wouldn't have allowed that. There was other derelict kids I was with whose parents embraced the fact
look
that they
what
brought
brought home.
stuff home. There was like furniture and stuff like that, I
Wow.
remember. So we made multiple trips and it was like a mile away. So we had these carts and stuff carrying all this furniture. Nobody said a word.
Oh no!
And then we go back, make another trip, pile up more stuff, and keep going.
Nice,
So
very
my parents
nice.
never knew. And
That's
it's just
awesome.
insanity what went on.
But you had
like
the
I
best
said.
forts, I would assume.
Yes,
with all
absolutely.
that furniture,
And then
a leather
you know,
couch.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Crazy,
That's a
crazy
score.
stuff.
That's good.
Great.
And that was just one of the many crazy, obscene stuff going on at this age. So, and like, what else is happening now with parents? Gina, you're a parent now. So, what's one of the differences you notice now compared to your parents?
Oh, big difference. I mean, kids just get whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get
Yeah.
whatever they want.
Whenever they want
when
it.
they want it, it is like instant satisfaction,
Yeah, wow.
instant gratification. Nobody's
Yes.
working. I had to work. 14 years
I was
old. It was
working
like,
at 10.
go out and get a job. You want something? Go, and it's a challenge when your kids are hanging out with other kids that are getting everything
right.
they want.
It is a
So
challenge.
that's a challenge for me as a parent,
So, yeah, it has to be a village. We all have to come together
We
and
have
say
to.
no, but
Yeah.
no one ever says no.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to just
you can't
ice
have
you
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were some of the differences between
Yeah.
1974 and 2017. We could actually, every week we can just do this because there's
Right.
so many differences
so
and
many.
so much
Sure.
insanity. We could just
Sure.
pick a different year and just go through and
It
come up with a
doesn't even matter
different
the
insane
year.
story and what it was like growing up in New York in the 70s. It was a great place if you were a
Brooklyn was
derelict.
fun. Right.
Yeah,
Brooklyn was
absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun, but I would not raise a
How
child
did we
there.
never get
No.
abducted
can.
or you know what I mean? It's just
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
And people were hitchhiking back
Yes.
then.
Yes.
That's a funny story because I will never forget. I must have been, and it was probably 74. And I went to King's Plaza to the
Wow.
movies to see The Omen.
Oh my God!
So was
awesome
it
movie.
70? We got to look up the date on that
Could have
movie.
been, yeah.
And I'm with my cousin Lisa, and she lived near King's Plaza. And she's like, "Come on, let's not take the bus. We're going to hitch." And I was crying. I was so scared. I was so scared.
At least you were smart
And-
enough to be scared.
And it's so
right.
funny when I
Right.
perform that song "Hitchin' a Ride" when I'm jamming with my band. I'm like, I gotta tell you a story about me and my cousin Lisa at King's Plaza, and it just comes back.
But wait, so did you get a ride?
No, because I started crying. I said, I'm gonna
Oh,
tell,
okay.
I'm gonna tell your mom because I
Very
was
good.
just tattletaling.
See, you could have
were
saved her
smart.
life.
Really
Yeah.
mad
Probably
at
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you were by Marine Park then.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she lived over there. I lived in Saturday Night
That's
Fever
what I
land.
thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
I lived
okay.
near, the
Yes.
movie where they filmed it.
Odyssey.
Yep.
And did you
That's
notice?
an
Did you notice that you're always wrong as well? That
Always.
other parents, if they said anything about you, that was your fault. You did it. Teacher said anything about you.
Oh, you got hit first.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Then-
Totally got hit
Oh my
first.
God, that was
That's
the most
another difference too,
embarrassing thing.
where
Yeah.
Right.
I know friends that are teachers. My wife is a teacher. It's ridiculous. It's,
Right. It's the
it's
teacher's
everybody
always
else's
wrong
kid.
now,
Teacher's
right?
always
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
They're always on the calls.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Always.
Yeah.
But back then, that was it. And anybody said it. A priest, a
Oh,
convict,
right.
anybody. Charles Manson came over and said, your kid is out of line. Your parent would slap you and say,
Then ask
thank you,
questions
Mr.
later.
Manson. Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Manson.
it won't happen again.
Oh.
See, but the difference was, too, that we were always lying, too, because
Yes.
One,
Oh my
one
God.
example I have, it was Halloween, right? And we egged the neighbor's house with eggs, right? And he came over the next morning and said that he was watching me do it. And he saw me. And I was denying it. I said, he's crazy. I have no idea what he did. Of course I did it. He saw me doing it, but I was saying, no, that wasn't me.
He didn't have a cell phone. He had nothing to film
Exactly.
you with.
Right. And your mother believed you?
Oh,
Well,
that's so
yeah,
Did she?
not really, but he couldn't do anything. It was my father, and he couldn't really,
Yeah.
he made me go in the house, but it wasn't punishment and
Right.
stuff
Right,
because there was
right,
no
right.
tangible evidence, but he
Tangible.
believed the guy anyway over me, of course.
Yeah.
So.
That my mother always would believe me. My father would be like, "Don't you understand? This kid is a liar."
Don't you? I like that. I like
And he
that.
was right every time. But just like you said, that I would lie. I
Yeah, it was
lied about
great.
everything.
Yeah, they would call us liars right to our face, and just things. They would all be in jail right now if it was.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
If they acted this way, most parents would be in jail. Yeah, well, you're going to deny that, Caroline? Let's hear the story about the time your mother came after you with a chair.
Fun.
And my father grabbed
Fun.
it before she could break it over me.
Wow. You didn't get the wooden spoon? You didn't get any
I
of
know.
that?
No, she used to pull my hair. I used to run,
Yeah,
and
the hair-
she
I-
would corner me, and then she'd pull me by my hair.
Yeah, I'm surprised I got hair on my head, too.
And, yeah. Now, I don't remember the spoon, but that is a true story. With
Well, the slipper, that was a big one.
Yeah, the slipper was big.
With the
but
wooden
my mother,
heels,
her
too.
hand was-
But we were good athletes, so we would catch it and it would piss her
Yeah.
off
Yeah,
more.
yes. Yes.
It was good stuff. So, all right. So now we're gonna have to take a break now, play some music, and of course, like I said, 1974 was Steven's year.
Yes.
This was his music, his time to shine.
really.
So
I
now we're
loved
gonna
it.
play two of Steven's favorites. Absolutely. We're gonna play "Billy, Don't Be a Hero" by Bo Donaldson and the
Yeah.
Haywoods, and then we're gonna play Steven's all-time favorite song, "Seasons in the Sun" by Terry Jacks,
Jacks.
both from
you go.
1974. And we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house, part of the Madhouse Magazine Radio Hour on 474 The Mix. And that was, what was it? Steven's favorites. Billy Don't Be a Hero,
Right.
Bo Donaldson and the Haywoods, and Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks. And now both of those had like a story to it. You know, that was the year. This was the year of the one-hit wonders, and it was the year of songs that had stories to it.
Yeah.
Like, and these were terrible stories. Like, Billy Don't Be a Hero
that's
is
true.
like
That
a
was
guy
sad.
going off to war,
Yes.
right? And his girlfriend is saying, "Don't be a hero. Let everybody else die. Just come back to
Just come
me
home."
because I'm selfish." So, what happened at the end? I forget now. Did he die or what?
Yeah. He was the first one. He volunteered to go right up front, and then
He was the first one shot in the
yes,
hole.
yes.
He's like, I'm out of here.
And they gave the girlfriend a letter, and she was like, you know,
Yeah.
we're sorry that we lost your son.
Oh,
I heard she
jeez.
threw the letter away.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You good. Wait, was that Run? Was Run Joey Run?
No, that's a
Like,
whole
That's
nother
another
story.
one.
I don't know that it was 74. I didn't see
Right,
that on the
okay.
chart, so
Gotcha.
we can't go off track here.
Another
So now, yeah, we'll be back on that topic. So what about Seasons in the Sun? I believe that was about a kid dying or something.
Oh, I never thought of it. But,
Do-do-do-do-do.
yes. Yeah, well, all
Goodbye,
right.
my friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard to die. Yes.
Oh, I thought you knew of this.
I do, but I never thought about it that way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think it's about a.
He was the black sheep of the family.
I don't know if it's a
And
boy
then,
or a girl dying or
yeah.
how it was related to Terry
Seasons.
Jacks. All right, so that's something we're going to need to investigate.
Yeah.
The hidden meaning behind Seasons in the Sun.
Yeah, no,
So-
another depressor.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
a really good song.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, now it's time to talk about Carl Douglas, and anything you want to interject about 1974, feel free, because there's not that much to talk about this album. But surprisingly, there's
it's a
other
love song.
songs on it. Yes, other love songs.
right.
Now, originally, Kung Fu Fighting was the B-side. The song that they were recording, Carl Douglas, his real name was Carlton Douglas, and he's from Kingston, Jamaica. He's Jamaican.
Oh.
Bello's Jamaican, too, you know. Jamaican me
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah! So anyway, he's
Here
from
we go.
Jamaica, and the song it's called. Where is this song? I Want to Give You My Everything. That they thought this was going to be the big hit, right? So they recorded this song, I Want to Give You My Everything, and they needed a B-side. So he had these like ridiculous lyrics scrolled down, and they said, all right, let's just record this. Let's make it a goofy song, you know? So they recorded it, and next thing you know, it was the single, and it sold 11 million copies, was one of the best-selling singles of all time.
Wow.
I
So-
had it. Vicky bought it for me.
Right,
for
so
my
I don't
roommate.
know when this album came out, but they put all, I guess it was after it had success. Then they made an album with
made the
all these
album.
songs. Because, you know, did you know there was other Kung Fu songs on here,
Yes,
too?
yes, that I did.
Let me
I didn't
name
know
the
there was
songs.
an album.
Right, so
He's
it's Kung
obsessed
I
Fu.
didn't
Kung
either. I
Fu,
thought it
this
was
guy.
just a single.
Right.
Let me tell you the names of the songs on here. Kung Fu Fighting, of course. Witchfinder General, When You Got Love, Changing Times, I Want to Give You My Everything. And here's the other smash Kung Fu song, Dance the Kung Fu.
Dance the
Sounds
Kung Fu.
fun.
Was that just an instrumental?
No. Never had this dream before. I don't care what people say. And Blue Eyed Soul, which was an instrumental, which they say the guy at the end, the producer, he wanted a career of his own. So he just jammed this song on here that it was his song. Because Blue Eyed Soul, this guy, Jamaican guy singing a song called Blue Eyed Soul.
That's
Right? So, and
God.
you ever see him like on Soul Train? He's always wearing like the silk kimono with the headband.
Right.
Yes, yes.
He's always doing karate moves.
He was obsessed with Kung Fu.
Now, I don't know if it was big in your neighborhood, but where I came from, and especially in the ghetto, Kung Fu was huge during this time in
Yeah.
74. It really was.
Yes.
Everybody was actually Kung Fu fighting, Caroline. I don't know if there was in Atlantic
I
Beach,
know.
but in the ghetto, we were all Kung Fu fighting. Until, of course, and we all had to have nunchucks,
Yes.
right? And try to do it
Remember
like
that?
Bruce
Yeah,
Lee.
the nunchucks.
Bruce Lee, everybody loved Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But the problem was, as soon as you got your nunchucks and you didn't know what you were doing, you'd whack yourself in the nads,
Yes.
and that would be
then
the
you
end of
were
your
hurt.
nunchuck
So remind me
life.
again how you saved me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That was a long time ago.
What was Kung Fu actually on television at that time too?
Yes, Kung Fu, the show with
Oh,
David
right.
Carradine.
David Carradine.
Right.
Oh,
Which
So,
never
yeah.
made sense to me because they would say, if it wasn't for this Chinaman, it's causing trouble. I'm like, what Chinaman? He said, the guy was born in California. What? I never understood. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
They would call him like that he was the
And-
troublemaker.
And I think it was so bad that they actually put tape on his eyes
yes,
to make him look a little
yes,
Chinese.
they definitely
Wasn't
did something,
really
yeah.
Chinese?
David Carradine, of course,
No,
he's
no.
not Chinese.
Yeah,
No,
his whole
that
family's
is.
like, you know.
Yeah.
Completely American.
Am I supposed to know who he is?
David Carradine, yes. He's a huge, famous actor. He was in
Kill
Kill
Bill.
Bill. He was Bill.
Oh, he was
Kung
good.
Fu. He was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, he's good. So, he had a lot of kung fu experience.
Yeah.
So, and that was it, really. It was one of the greatest one-hit wonders of all time.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard much from Carl Douglas
But
since
you don't
then.
have to.
I know,
That
that's
was
the
it.
beauty.
Yeah.
And that
Right,
if he
when you
played his
can-
card right and he wrote that song, his manager
Living off
didn't
the
steal the
residuals.
money.
Right.
He
I
could
hope he's
he
loaded.
could have a lifetime career. From
11
that. He's
million,
actually still
wow.
alive, so I should look him
Oh,
up.
awesome.
I would love to speak to
Yeah,
him.
you should call him then.
Call Douglas. That would be awesome. Yes. So that's it. That's all I got about
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu fighting. What did you remember about this song, Caroline? The first time you heard Kung Fu fighting? The lyrics were ridiculous too.
Right.
It's
I
like
just remember
little
loving
Sammy
it.
Chung
Yeah.
and
I used to dance to it in my basement.
Yeah. That's what we did. We had dance parties in the basement.
And my friend Vicky bought it. I wanted the 45. She gave it to me for my birthday. And I got her one Touch Me in the Morning 45.
oh, geez. Wow.
That's when they cost $1. Do you
Yeah,
remember that?
yes.
And we had to save
Probably
up.
they were
yeah.
even
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably less.
Yeah. Back in
It
the
was a
day, they were even
45,
less later
so-
on. And the one thing I remember remember on every TV show, they'd be talking about guys doing the karate, and that they would say, my hands are so lethal, they're licensed with the FBI and the
right.
police.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, did anyone ever go to the police and say, I'd like to license
My
I'd
hand.
like to register my hands, please. Yeah, that never happened. I never thought about that.
Or
That's true.
we should do that,
Yes,
Bello.
yes.
I want to follow a camera crew following
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It would be.
Watch the cops tase you. Drag you out.
Get out of here.
That reminds me of
Tase me, bro.
an episode of Cops. There was this drunk guy, and he was fighting with the cops, and he was threatening them and being a jerk to them. They wanted to arrest him, and he said, all right, I got a choice for you, cops. You can have the right hand, which will send you to the hospital, or the left hand that will send you to the cemetery. Your choice.
no. Right.
And then the cop takes out his taser and the guy drops, and he's yelling and screaming.
That's
Ah!
beautiful. Oh,
It was
I
the
love that
funniest thing I
taser.
ever saw on Cops.
thank God they didn't have those in the 70s. Cops would have been blasting people left and right. That's
Yeah, see, that was another thing. The
Yeah.
cops, too. They
Yes.
could do whatever they wanted
Yes.
to
Oh,
you.
that's
And
true,
if you went to your parents to complain
Right.
about it,
Right.
forget it.
Yes.
You get
Yeah.
double. The
Right.
cop would hold you while your mom beat you.
Very
But
true.
it was nice that they would punch in the stomach and let you go home. You know what I mean? That would happen to us in the Richmond time.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah,
line
yeah.
us up, punch us in the stomach. Now get out of here. And we crawl home.
were
Yeah.
inconvenient.
That's true.
And
That's
if
the
you
one
had
thing,
stuff, if you were doing something you
Yes.
shouldn't be, that was,
Right.
had illegal
Yeah.
substances,
Yes.
they would spill it out, or
Right.
they'd drop it out, and
Right.
they'd say, go
Right.
home,
Go
you know?
home. Yeah.
That
Tell
was
your
the good
mother
old
what you
days.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I never got in trouble by the police, though.
Yeah,
Very
I
nice.
should hope
Yeah,
not.
no.
Bello, I'm sure, was regular.
That's
Yeah,
Regular.
that's a bad thing when the police know you by name.
Yeah, right.
They were very good to us, I must say. They were
Yep,
good guys.
yep. It was fun time to be alive.
Yeah.
Fun time. You see all the struggle, kids, what we had to go through. We paved the way for you. We were the pathfinders, if you will. And of course,
Yeah.
the number one struggle of all time is that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer only came out once a year.
And if you
That was
Wow.
big. That was the worst.
Wow.
That was big.
And
Oh,
Gina's
geez,
mom would
no,
drag her out
yeah,
shopping.
Oh,
Remember
yes,
that?
I remember
Friday
Gina
nights.
saying that.
That's
Oh,
it.
no.
Cried like a baby, and I had
Yeah.
to wait for the summer reruns.
Way before the VHS or whatever, right?
my
There was no-
Exactly.
Wow.
I remember
So
the
awesome.
Ouija board too. That was big in my life, and I believe that was when I was 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
early
and
70s.
sure.
Yeah, everybody was
74.
playing around with that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you know.
It scared the bejesus
We
out of
got
me,
there's
to be
all
honest
so many
with you.
stuff I want to talk about too. Maybe the next show we'll talk about all the crazy stuff and how we managed to stay alive with all the things that we didn't have back then, like seatbelts and helmets.
Yes,
We'll talk
wow.
about that next show.
Well, that good story on that.
Oh.
Yeah. So write that down for
And
next
then-
show.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Evil
There it
Knievel,
is.
and we're trying to
Yeah,
imitate Evil Knievel.
exactly. So so definitely we're running out of time here,
Oh.
right? So we're time to wrap up the show now, and we're gonna play some more songs. we're going to play Dance the Kung Fu by Carl Douglas.
That's fun.
And then we're going to play Rock On by David Essex. Another great song.
That's a
That is
great
great
What
song
a
from
great
1974.
year.
Absolutely.
I was on Wonderama in 70.
Oh, my
Awesome.
God. Oh, you thought you could
Awesome.
keep this from us.
Why didn't-
Ouija board.
All right, we're putting the show on hold. Let's go. Tell us this story.
Linda's Bagel and a String.
Wonderama, Bob McAllister.
Of course.
Right?
Very
Sonny
nice.
Fox was the first. But my mom got tickets for Wonderama, and me, Lisa Gascione, my brother, and Kim Gascione, 4 of us went in the studio, and David Essex was singing.
Oh, my
Rock
God.
On.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
And if
that
I
is
can
so
find that
awesome.
on YouTube, I think there's a shot of me and my little friend
Oh,
Lisa
wow.
in the
That is
awesome.
audience.
Yeah.
I'm
I have
so
got
going
to
to look at
find
that.
that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have the 45 with his autograph.
Oh, man.
That is great.
So exciting.
You couldn't bring that to the show, Gina. We need
Oh,
this.
man.
Next show.
Yeah, next show,
Show.
Bello. Next
back
show,
now.
you got to stop at Gina's and
Yes.
help her find her 45.
I forgot. I did a commercial.
Get
for
out.
Golden's Mustard.
What?
I swear to
Commercial?
God. With
Wait
Joe
a
Namath.
second. What's
Joe
going on
Namath.
here?
I swear to you.
All this stuff coming out the
child
last
I
minute.
forgot about that. I was in a commercial
we're old.
with Joe
We're trying to
Namath
spur
All right.
our memories
Hold
here.
on.
up in football
We got to
camp.
hear this. Hold on. He's in a commercial with Joe Namath.
Yeah, and
You
it was
guys
about-
are-
it was
Go
about-
ahead. Stop at the
Sorry.
beginning.
Go back.
My father coached at Joe Namath football camp, and somehow they were filming a commercial for Golden's Mustard, and I got to be one of the 5 kids that was in the commercial.
Get out.
Yeah.
And what'd you say?
Just looking at Joe like this, and that long. I was awesome. And then they told us when it would be on. You know, we couldn't tape it.
No.
So it would be on 10:30 on Sunday nights before the Art Couple and all that.
Oh,
and
man.
yeah, and it was awesome.
You watched
know?
it?
And,
Oh, that
and
must
have been
I
awesome.
still can't find it. I've been
Oh,
Googling
jeez.
it for 15 years. You
And
know what I
actually,
mean? Since Google was
Steven did
invented.
have a line. He said to Joe Namath, "Hey, Joe, don't be dindy with the mutted."
That was the guy
Dingy
who
with the
that was the guy who hit the lottery. Oh, that's hilarious.
So then I have a story, too, that I was in the remake of Gone with the Wind.
Oh,
with-
here we go.
I didn't know that.
I'm making that up.
Oh, okay.
I was never on television. I never had a good story like that. I don't think. You?
No.
All right, so we're wrapping this up live from Dennis's house, 1974. Everybody was kung fu fighting. We will see you next time when I don't know what we're going to be doing, but we're not going to be able to beat this show. The first show of the season
Agreed.
coming out hot,
Yeah. Good
show.
swinging hot.
Good year.
This is the kind of show I like doing here. So, yeah, check it out. Madhouse Magazine, 474 The Mix, live from Dennis's house. We are out. See you next time. Let's hear it for us.
Peace out.
Awesome. Those are my favorite.